Let me know when they're live.
We are live now, ma'am.
Maitreyi, we can
Yeah.
record this session. Record.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sneffi. A very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all to this very special C-STEM session. Today we have two very noted guests with us on this session. First off will be Dr. Manuja Ellen. She's Associate Professor of Community Medicine in Adichuncha Nagari Institute of Medical Sciences. She's done her MBBS and holds a PG degree in family in counseling and family therapy from IGNU. And she's known for she has interest in family health and community medicine. Ma'am will be telling us the girl students especially about the reproductive health, some common factors that we do not know about, that we're not very aware of. Please hold your questions for the end of the session. Without making any delay in the session, I will give this digital mic to Dr. Manuja. Madam, please take over.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Am I audible, dear students?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll try to share my screen.
Ma'am, can you make it full screen?
Ma'am, I have made it, ma'am, but I don't know why it is not visible. It is in slideshow only. Ma'am, or else can you open from your side? I had sent you through WhatsApp.
Yeah, ma'am, just a minute.
I think now it is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible now.
Okay, ma'am, I'll start. Good afternoon, dear all. Hope I'm audible to all. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So today I'm here, and ma'am has already introduced me. I myself, Dr. Manuja. I've done MBBS and MD in community medicine, and I'm proud to say even I was studying in JNV. Okay, Jawahar Navodaya. I'm an proud alumni of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. Okay, I'm now working as associate professor. So today I'll be talking mainly on the subjects or the things which you actually needed during your adolescent period. Okay, those are three things. One, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Heard of it? PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, menstrual hygiene, and healthy lifestyle. So before going to the topic, I just want to know, do you know how many students write Navodaya entrance test all over India every year? Guess, how many students write Navodaya entrance test?
60 lakh students.
Around 50 lakh students. Okay. This is from some teacher or from student? Okay. I'm happy that you are answering. Okay. It is around 30 lakh students. 30 this year. Last year, there were 30 lakh 46,506 students wrote this entrance test. Okay. Why am I telling this here? Because of the 30 lakh 46,506 students, only 48,000 got the seat. That means one among the 100 will get the seat. That means you are that one lucky person who has actually got this seat of the 100 students who wanted to get this seat, right? So you are that one. I wanted to stress on this. You are that one lucky person among the 100 students. Out of 100, you are that one lucky person. So I want yourself to give a pat on your back. Give yourself a pat on your back. You're not proud of it that you have taken Navodaya?
Yes,
ma'am. Ma'am, is your video stuck? Hello. Students, please wait a little.
Okay. Yes. You felt proud that you have taken Navodaya? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll not ask the questions now. Okay. So coming to the overview of today's presentation, I'll be talking, as I've already told you, it is PCOS, menstrual hygiene, and healthy lifestyle. Okay. Coming to the PCOD, it is, both are same, polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay. So it is a medical, I will not go into it. Okay. It is a medical condition where ovaries produce immature or partially mature eggs in large number. Okay. So the normally ovaries produce normal eggs, mature eggs. But here the ovaries will produce the partially mature or immature eggs. So what happened next? So because of the eggs which were partially mature, over the time, it will become the cyst. Okay. Because of it, the ovaries will get enlarged. So there will be enlarged ovary, first thing. Okay. Since the ovary is enlarged, they'll produce the male hormones here. In PCOD, next ma'am, in PCOD, the main problem is they'll produce the male hormones. What are male hormones? Androgens, that is testosterone. Next. Ma'am. Okay, so the male hormones. So because, yes ma'am, next slide. Because of these male hormones, what are the things which we get or the symptoms is irregular menstrual cycle. Main complaint people come up with is irregular menstrual cycle or hair loss. Okay, hair loss or excessive hair on the abnormal areas. Okay, it can be over the chin, anywhere. Plus, you may have abnormal weight gain, or if it is not treated properly, it will lead to infertility. Okay, next. So this is what is PCOS. So here I think you can see the uterus. This is how uterus looks. Okay, you have the uterus, reproductive system. At the side, you will have fallopian tube. Yes. Below the fallopian tube, you have 2 ovaries, right? This side, you have the normal ovary. Other side, you can see that is what is called polycystic ovary. Because of the immature follicles will become the cyst and it cannot secrete the normal hormones, which is actually necessary for females. Okay, that is why the main problem with the PCOD we present with is irregular menstrual cycle. Okay, ma'am, can I go to the next? Okay. So the common features which I've already told you. So these are the features. Next. So this is how it looks. Facial hair, abnormal facial hair may be present. One. Next. Second feature will be acne. Okay, as you already know. That doesn't mean that if you have acne or if you have this excessive hair, don't think that you have PCOD. Important point. Please listen. If you have acne or if you have this excessive hair anywhere on the body, don't ever think that it is PCOD, because during adolescence, it is normal to have acne. Okay, and it is normal to have abnormal menstrual period. Okay, if it is excess, then you can go and consult a doctor. Then you will get to know it is because of adolescent or if it is because of PCOS. Okay, so these 3 common symptoms, they present with excessive hair, acne, and menorrhagia. Menorrhagia means excessive menstrual bleeding. It can be excessive or it can be decreased or it can be irregular menstrual periods. Okay, over to the next slide. So if it is not, if you don't get treatment properly, it will affect many areas of our life. Okay, the main thing is it may affect our sleep or it may cause infertility. I think you people are seeing nowadays infertility is increasing. That means mother may not bear the child, right? So this is why we need to have treatment for PCOS. Okay, and the best, the good thing about PCOS is we have treatment. It is not like it is not cancer or any other disease. It is a disease for which we have treatment. Okay, and for whatever treatment, next slide, whatever treatment I tell you today, okay, don't think that it is only for the people with PCOS. It is to prevent PCOS. Okay, we all can try this. It is not the exact, like I'm not talking about the medical line of treatment. Okay, next, ma'am. So what are the treatment things we have is first one is you have to take balanced, wholesome diet. Means, yes, all of us are eating every day, right? What is balanced? Balanced means you should have fruits, vegetables, proteins, and decrease the salt. I think decrease salt, everybody knows, but to decrease sugar, I think this is a new thing. It is one of the factor for increase of cancers and non-communicable disease. So please decrease the usage of sugar. Sugar, very important. Okay, and you have to stop this processed bakery foods or fried foods. Okay, next, you have to, next slide, ma'am. So regarding eating, 3 things. 1, wholesome diet. 2, stop the outside items. I think in Navodaya, that is the best thing, that you will not be allowed to eat outside item. Actually, that is the best. You should be grateful for it. Okay. 3rd one is mindful and slow eating. Heard of this? Very important. Whatever treatment I'm telling it today, it is for everything. It is to prevent all the diseases, not only for the PCOD. Okay. What is I mean, there is a lot to talk on mindful eating. I'll talk only 1 sentence on mindful eating. Whenever we are eating, what we usually do, we'll be watching TV or we'll be using the phone, right? Okay, or we'll be talking to our friends and eat. Actually, we should not do like that. Mindful eating is you have to eat. That's all. You have to concentrate only on the eating. Okay, easy way is whenever you put something into the mouth, take 20 minutes to eat. Or else, for example, breakfast. Minimum you have to take 20 minutes. You should not gulp it. You have to feel it and eat. That is what is called 20-20. Take 20 minutes and 20 times you can chew. 1 time For example, once you put rice into your mouth, take 20 chews. Chew it 20 times, right? First. And eat it for 20 minutes. Whole food, eat it for 20 minutes. Easy to remember? From today, can I expect that from you? From today, you all will follow this 20-20 rule. Okay, this will prevent many diseases. And as you all know, physical activity, I think that is there in Navodaya. So you all should at least engage 60 minutes, like 1 hour, minimum 1 hour per day. Okay. Next. Weight reduction. Okay, so all this actually decrease your weight of 5%. Maybe it can decrease your weight for 5%, but definitely it will give you the good result. If, for example, if you have the PCOD, and if you follow all these things, your weight maybe in 1 month you may decrease 5%. That's all. But definitely your disease will be reversed. Okay, you may have the normal periods. Okay. Can I move to the next one? Okay, so that is about PCOD. I think you all have got the points on PCOD. What did I tell? PCOD is a metabolic disorder or a medical condition in which ovaries produce the abnormal hormones or excessive male hormones, through which we will present with acne, menstrual symptoms, or hirsutism. Hirsutism means excessive hair growth. Okay, or it can be any other symptoms. Okay, so those are the common symptoms people present with PCOD. Nowadays, PCOD is common, but you can prevent it. You have the treatment. Okay, shall I move to the next topic now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next topic is which everybody needs. It is not only for the student, even for the teachers, for everybody. If we actually follow this lifestyle, nowadays, before and all, it was like communicable diseases like cholera or other diseases, diarrhea. Those were increased. I mean, the prevalence of them was high. But nowadays, what is high? What diseases you hear more?
Corona.
Corona. Okay, corona is over now. Good. Typhoid. Okay, but nowadays it is thyroid. Very good. Thyroid, diabetes, hypertension means sugar, BP.
Disorders.
Very good. Lifestyle disorders. That is non-communicable disorders. Okay. I'll talk now. Okay, because I have very less time. Okay. So the next is we have cancers. Before and all 1950 and during 1950, there was not that much increase in the cancers, right? But now you can see in every village or the prevalence of cancer is increasing. Why? Because of the abnormal lifestyle we are following. What we can do to prevent all this is, next slide, ma'am. So I have 9 simple steps. Just follow these 9 simple steps. I will assure you, you will not get any disease. Okay, 9 simple steps. You can take a note of it. Please write down. Okay, coming to the first step, it is get good sleep. Okay, very important. Do you think sleep is important? Yes. Okay, because if there is deprivation of sleep, what will happen? We'll get exhausted. We cannot manage the normal situation. Okay, again, we will worry. Worry will again deprive the sleep. So this is what is called sleep deprivation cycle. Okay, if you don't sleep or if you don't rest the mind or body every day, it will cause stress. Stress is the main factor for many diseases. Okay, you have to avoid the stress. Okay, even during the exam, I have heard many people will not sleep or may sleep only 2 hours a day. Never. Please sleep properly. Only then I think you can recall and write properly. Right? Okay. So this is the first step. You have to sleep at least 8 to 10 hours a day. 8 to 10 hours a day. Okay. At these points, I think it is not necessary for you, since I think I feel you people get adequate sleep, right? If you don't get, the only thing which I wanted to tell you here is avoid watching TV or mobile or screens before you go to sleep. Please, 1 hour before. Okay. Okay. Next step. So that is the first step, sleep. Second is have regular exercise. You have to do regular exercise. Oh, again, in Navodaya, physical activity is must, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But what do we think? Physical activity, what does it do? We think physical activity will just make our body slim. If I want to reduce my weight, I'll do physical activity. That is what we think. Yes, it will decrease the weight, but it has the another added advantage. Can anybody think of it? Please don't answer, just think of it. What is the added advantage if I do exercise every day or anything, physical activity every day?
For mental health, good.
Very good. It is actually necessary for mental health. If you do exercise every day, for the students, the easy way to remember is it will improve your memory, it will improve your concentration. So you will get good marks. Okay. So have adequate sleep and have good exercise every day so that you will get good marks. Okay. We'll go to the next slide. Okay. I think this is, we should avoid alcohol and drugs, smoking, etc. because we all know that that causes many different types of diseases.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Next. Okay. So the fourth part, I think this is a bit which I wanted to talk to you. We all think meditation should be done by Swamiji or the people who stay in Himalayas, right? No, everyone has to do meditation. Okay, that is how we will sharpen our mind again to increase the concentration and to increase the memory. More than exercise, this plays a role.
To please our mind.
Yes, good. So we have to do meditation every day. But now I can't teach you how to do meditation. I think your teachers will tell you, but please make a note on it. At least 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day, please start practicing meditation. Now, for 1 minute, may I ask you to close your eyes? Just close your eyes, all of you. Please mute yourself and close your eyes. Okay. I think you are sitting in a comfortable position. Okay. Now, breathe slowly. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Only concentrate on the breath. Only concentrate on the air you take in. Okay, just concentrate on it. Inhale, hold, exhale. No smiling. Okay. Okay, you can all open your eyes. I think you have done only for 10 to 15 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
But that has the effect on you, right? Whenever you are in tension, whenever you have anxiety, whenever you have any disorder, I think you can try this. Okay, when you do meditation and then go back to work, you can easily do your work. This I have tried. Initially, even I was thinking, why should I do meditation? I'm not Swamiji and all. But now I am feeling if I do meditation, the result, whatever I get, will be more than what I was getting before. Okay, in anything. Okay, so next slide, ma'am. Okay, so this is a small activity. Again, now look at it. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now look at the screen. I think you can see 2 oranges. One and another one cut orange. Okay, now all of you close your eyes and just imagine that there is an orange in front of you. Okay, one orange and one cut orange, whatever you have seen on the screen. Okay, so the first point you have imagined now. Next, open your eyes and look at the cut one here. Okay, please concentrate. Look at the cut one on the screen. Okay, see how it is. It is round and inside you have a white circle-like structure, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, around you can see the pulp, orange color pulp because it is orange. Okay, orange color pulp. You have many spikes, right? You have many spikes. There you can see. Now close your eyes. Imagine the cut fruit there. Imagine that again in your brain, that you are seeing the cut fruit, like cut orange. It's orange which is cut. You can see that pulp, it is very juicy, right? Now imagine it is in your hand. Imagine that you are holding that orange, which is cut, which is already opened. Okay. Now, what you have to do is imagine again. You just imagine that you are squeezing that orange. Okay. You are squeezing that orange, the juice, you are feeling it using your tongue. You are squeezing the orange over your tongue. Okay.
2:30 बजे था, 3:30 बजे करीब आएंगे.
Somebody please mute yourself. Okay. So you are squeezing it and it is on your tongue now. Right? Okay. Now open your eyes. Did you get that saliva?
Yes, ma'am.
Most of us, most of you, I think. Some people may feel that juicy orange feel also. Okay. So why have I used this here is, this is what is called one technique which is used by most successful people. Okay, most successful people use this one technique. What is that one technique? Visionary. Okay. Like for example, if you want to become a doctor or if you want to become an engineer, imagine, have that vision. And every day, at least for 2 minutes, whenever you are free, you just imagine that you're already a doctor. You are serving the society and people are praising you that you are the best doctor. Okay. Or if you want to become an engineer, again, imagine that you are an engineer. Or if you want to become a pilot, just imagine that. But every day, consistently. That doesn't mean that by just imagining you will become a doctor. No, you have to put your work. But with work, if you just imagine or you just follow this technique, it is easy to reach your goal. Okay. I have tried it and it has worked a lot for me. You can try for anything, but keep in mind from today, Manuja ma'am has taught you this visionary technique. You just have to imagine. Okay. So we'll move back to the topic. Okay. So I have told you till now the various healthy lifestyle like sleep, meditation, exercise. Okay. And avoiding alcohol and other substance abuse. Okay. Now you have to keep socially connected. Okay?
Yes.
So keep socially connected. That means nowadays we are just connecting with the social media. We are with the phone. We are with the TV, right? You have to connect with the friends. You have to connect with the family. Why?
Peoples of society.
Because it will decrease the anxiety, it will decrease the depression, it will have various good effect on your body. It will increase your mental health. If your mental health is good, you can easily score well in your studies. Okay, so you should have good connection with everybody, right? So that is what is called keep socially connected. The sixth one is learn new skills. Everybody will have one or the other talent, right? I may be good at cooking, or my friend may be good at singing, dancing, anything, but we will be studying. That will be our main role, right? But with it, you practice whatever you want. For example, it can be singing, cooking, or it can be drawing, whatever which help you. I mean, whatever like it will trigger your positive emotions. Okay. It will help you to be in the positive state. So try that, but not like you can spare your 15 minutes of a day for it. Anything, whatever, which makes you happy. Okay, because that also increases the mental health. So the last two things is screen media. Okay. You should have to reduce your screen time. Again, I will not talk on it because I know the phones are not used in Navodaya. For it, actually, you should be very, very, very grateful to Navodaya. Because nowadays, we are getting, in hospitals, I am seeing the brain cancers, brain tumors, prevalence is increasing. One of the main reason is using this mobiles. Okay. So last Second one is eat healthy and connect with nature. Okay, eat healthy. That I've already told you. How do we eat is we eat only rice, chapati, right? Mainly, but we have to eat like half of the portion should be this rice or chapati, but other half should be filled with vegetables, proteins, and fruits. Okay, so you should have all in adequate amount, at least one fruit a day, one vegetable a day. Okay, so you have to eat it. That is why we can, that is how we can prevent cancer. So in just, I have told you today, you have to have good sleep, exercise regularly, avoid alcohol, practice meditation, connect socially, reduce screen media, learn new skills, eat healthy, and connect with nature. Okay, ma'am, can I take another 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Neha, ma'am?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Okay. So other thing which I wanted to tell you is, so why I've added this slide here is, we always sit. Okay, but we think sitting will not cause any disease. No, sitting is the biggest thing which causes many, many diseases. So now may I ask all of you to stand if it is possible. If it is not feasible, at least stretch your hand. Stretch your hand, stretch your legs. Again, come back to normal position. Stretch your hands, stretch your legs, move your body, come back to normal position. Because you can sit down now. Thank you. Because studies have shown that sitting is new smoking. That means the effect, whatever we get from smoking, like that, we have many effects which we get from sitting, just sitting continuously for together. In between, you have to get up, stretch your body, and come back. Okay, ma'am, next slide. Next slide. Okay, so the last subject, the last topic for today is periods. Okay, so let's talk about the periods. That means menstruation. Okay, next slide, ma'am. So I think this I'll not deal with because menstruation will be taught, the physiology of menstruation will be taught in your subject. Okay, because I have less time, I'll tell you what you have to do. Okay, because menstruation is normal. Everybody will have this periods. That is normal. You have to accept it. If we are female, we should have the menstruation normally. That is how our health will be maintained. If I am having normal periods, that means I should be lucky. My health will be in good position. Right. So if I don't maintain the menstrual period correctly, that means if I don't practice the menstrual hygiene, that means changing pads, all those things. If I use the same pad for a whole day, what will happen? Is that okay? No, we should not use the single pad for whole day. We have to change pad at least 4 hours once. Okay, so if we don't practice that menstrual hygiene, these are the things which will occur. It can cause dysmenorrhea, that means pain abdomen, okay, or menorrhagia, that means excessive period or irregular period, or you may have obesity, or you may have many diseases. Okay, ma'am, next slide. That is why we have to practice menstrual hygiene. It can be anything. You can use cloth, you can use menstrual cups, you can use sanitary pads. I think most of you are using sanitary pads. I am not telling you have to use cloth or you have to use pad. You can use whatever which is comfortable to you. But if you want to protect the environment, we actually ask the people to use cups. But again, cups is the people who are married. But nowadays cups have come even for the adolescent. You can try. Okay, but before trying, please ask your consultant how to use. Okay, only then you can try any of this. Okay, but next, ma'am, next slide. By chance, if you are using pad, cotton pad or cloth, you have to make sure that it is dried under the sunlight. Okay, because the organism should be killed. Okay, otherwise, again, it will cause the infection of the genital tract. Ma'am, next slide. So how to dispose these pads? Okay, regarding the pad, I wanted to tell you, you have to change it regularly. Okay, at least 4 hours once. Okay, or you can use any of the methods, whatever I have mentioned. Once it is used, please look at the slide, never put it in the toilet. You should never put it in the toilet. You have to make sure that you wrap in a paper and put it in a dustbin. Easy now, put it in a dustbin and close the lid. Okay, next one. Or else, next slide. Or else you can burn it or you can dump. Dump in this file. But easy way is put it in the dustbin. Okay. And everybody, menstruation is normal. Please have that in mind. Menstruation is normal. You can talk about it. Okay. So the abnormalities which we usually face during our adolescent time is three things. One is irregular periods. Okay, that is normal. Okay, maybe yeah, menarche, the first menstruation you might have felt between 10 to 16 years. That is normal. Maybe fifth standard till 10th standard. Anytime you may have first menstruation. After it, for the 2 to 3 years, you will have irregular periods. It is normal to have irregular period for first 2 to 3 years. Okay, but if you are having excessive menstrual bleeding, you have to consult the doctor. Okay, and you may have painful period. Next slide, ma'am. So for the painful, because this is the thing which I feel many people would have felt. If you have pain during menstruation, again, it is also normal. If you have excessive pain, please go and consult a doctor. If it is possible, use this techniques. Use plastic bottle with the hot water and place it on abdomen and massage, or NUTs, or please, your nutrition should be proper during this menstruation. You have to decrease your salt and make sure that you'll eat more green leafy vegetables. And don't ever skip the meals. Okay, next slide, ma'am. You can do light exercises. Next slide, ma'am. You can do light exercises. People think that we should not do exercise or we should not do yoga during our period. No, you can do, but it should be light. It should not cause the pressure on the abdomen. That's all. Okay, or you can take warm water bath or put your feet in the warm water. Good. Okay. Next. That's all about the menstrual hygiene. What did I tell about the menstrual hygiene? You can use any of the things, pads, menstrual cups, or cloth pad, and make sure that it is clean. You have to change you have to change it every 4 hours. Okay, and don't ever put it in the toilet. Okay, last one is normal vaginal discharge. Normal vaginal discharges, you will have white discharge during this time. Like during the adolescence, it is normal to have white discharge. When do we have to consult doctor is only when it is itchy vaginal discharge, or when the color is not white. If it is yellow or greenish discharge, that time you have to consult doctor, or if it is very excess. Okay, so that's all about the normal vaginal discharge. Okay, so the key messages is menstruation is normal. It is part of every girls, and it is an indication of good health. There is no embarrassment around it. You have to talk about it. Okay, so today I have talked on menstrual hygiene, healthy lifestyle, 9 points. I think you have to write it and follow. Okay, and the first one which I talked on, PCOS. Okay, do you have any doubts? And thank you. I thank the organizers for giving me opportunity to speak today here. Okay, and I thank all the audience, all my students for hearing this lecture patiently. Thank you, dear all students.
Thank you. The students will take the doubts at the very end.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manuja. The session was very informative and very, very enlightening, I would say. All the girls, I'm sure, will benefit from it. Our next guest will be Dr. Ramya DR. Dr. Ramya DR is a distinguished gynecologist and gynecological oncologist from Mysuru. She's also a JNE alumnus, and ma'am is also ma'am has done MD from PGI Chandigarh, which is a very prestigious institute in the country. And ma'am, I would like to, she takes parts in publications. She has written and published for national and international journals. And without making you wait anymore, I would like to invite ma'am. And please, ma'am, take over. Thank you.
Ma'am, we can't hear you. Are you saying something? No, ma'am. Can you try unmuting once? No, ma'am, we can't hear you. We can see your screen, but we can't hear you, ma'am. Can you try without the mic, ma'am, once?
Am I audible now?
Yeah, ma'am. Now you're audible.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, ma'am, we can see your screen. Yeah, it's full screen now. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Ramya. I'm a gynecological oncologist based in Mysore. I thank the organizers for this opportunity. And I'm an alumni of JMI Chikmagalur 2002 to 2009 batch. I'll be going a little bit fast because of time constraints, and I'll speak for almost 40 minutes or more. So please bear with it. And let's begin. I'll be talking few topics: basics of female reproduction, then teenage pregnancy, sexually transmitted infection, and a lot about the most common sexually transmitted infection, that is the human papilloma virus, HPV infection. Okay. So you already know the anatomy of female reproductive system. So here, you know, there are two ovaries which are connected by fallopian tube, and this is the uterus, and the innermost lining of the uterus is called as endometrium. The mouth of the uterus is called as cervix, and then you have a tubular structure down, which is called as vagina, from which the menstrual blood comes out every month. So normally what happens is, after an egg is released, the process of release of egg is called as ovulation, which you already know. And when the egg is released, the endometrium starts to thicken and it is waiting for a pregnancy. So if there is a sexual intercourse during the time of ovulation, there will be formation of a embryo, which will come and which will grow within the uterus. So this uterus is preparing for a pregnancy. So the endometrial lining is getting thickened over time. But in case there is no pregnancy, there is no sexual intercourse during the time of ovulation, what happens is there is no need for the endometrium to be prepared waiting for pregnancy. That thickened endometrium comes out after 14 days. That is called as menstrual bleeding, which you already know. So what happens if you have sexual intercourse during the time of ovulation? The eggs released from the ovary gets fertilized by the sperms, and they travel through the fallopian tube, and roughly around day 7 they reach the uterus. In the endometrium cavity they implant, and the baby starts growing within the uterus. So this is how the pregnancy happens. So I will be introducing you to 3 terms. One is safe sex, unsafe sex, and contraception. What is safe sex? During sexual activity, if you are taking precaution to avoid sexually transmitted diseases, which includes even HIV infection, then it is called as a safe sex. What is unsafe sex? When no such precautions are taken, usually in the adolescents, the transmission of sexually transmitted infections is very high. When there is unsafe sexual encounter, there is high risk of pregnancy, there is high risk of sexually transmitted diseases. So this is not appropriate. What are contraceptives? Contraceptives are birth control methods. Contraception means this helps to prevent a pregnancy. They usually interfere with the process of ovulation, that is the release of egg, fertilization, the meeting of egg and the sperms, and the process of fertilization, and also the implantation is the process when the embryo sits in the uterus and starts growing in the uterus. So by using contraception, we can avoid a pregnancy. So you are thinking, why is she talking to us about pregnancy, contraception, and everything? But sexual activity usually begins in the adolescence at the age when you're not really well aware about the sexuality or contraception or protection against STDs and HIV. And adolescent marriages are very common in rural areas. And most women who marry at a young age have a first child at a very early age. And for unmarried adolescents, sometimes it becomes very difficult to access the contraceptives, so which results in unintended pregnancies. So what can happen if there is an unprotected sexual relationship? It has serious effect on the physical, psychological, and social health. It can result in
Excuse me,
early.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, please speak louder.
Oh, okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Please try to increase your volume, because I don't know, my microphone is not working. So please try to increase the volume on your systems also. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. It results in early and unwanted pregnancy and childbirth. It can lead to unsafe abortions, which can lead to death. There can be sexually transmitted infections, including HIV, AIDS, hepatitis B. So these consequences are not just at that point of time. These are going to affect the whole life of that girl child. So it is very, very necessary to take measures to prevent sexually transmitted diseases as well as pregnancy if you're involving in a sexual activity. So what are these birth control methods, the contraceptive methods? This first line, what you're seeing here, these are most effective methods, but I will not be talking about them because these are mainly for married couples. So for adolescents, which work pretty well, are the pills, OCP pills. These tablets have to be taken on every single day. Then we have patch. These are weekly patches. These are the rings which are placed in the vagina. These are like placed once in a month. And there are injections which can be taken once in 3 months. And also, which do not give very well contraceptive effect. That is, like they're not very effective in preventing pregnancy, are male and female condoms. But the advantages of male and female condoms are they are the best to prevent sexually transmitted infections. So for adolescents, what we say is it's always better to have double contraception. You use these methods in the second line, which act pretty well along with condoms, so that they prevent both against sexually transmitted infection as well as pregnancy. So what happens if a girl gets pregnant in their adolescent or teenage pregnancy? The body is not actually ready to carry the pregnancy. They undergo a lot of depression, there is guilt, they cannot complete their education, there are a lot of financial problems, the family has to face the social disgrace. And what happens to the body? The body is not yet ready. They can get infections. The hemoglobin levels are very low. They're anemic. Even before the baby is mature, they might go into labor. They might have increased risk of seizures or what you call as fits during the pregnancy, which all lead to increased risk of death during the pregnancy. So it affects not only the mother, but also it's going to affect the baby. So sometimes babies can die within the womb, or if they are born, they might have very low birth weight. They are born preterm. They have to stay in the ICU. They might not cry immediately after birth. So these consequences are going to affect the girl's life for the whole life. So it is always necessary to take precautions not to get pregnant and not to get sexually transmitted infections. So in case if you get pregnant, what to do? Don't go and show to some dyes, or don't just go to pharmacy and take some pills. Any unintended pregnancy or unwanted pregnancy, you have to meet your doctor, because there is a policy of privacy. So the doctor is not supposed to disclose about your pregnancy publicly or to anyone. So they will make sure that you get a safe abortion, which is legal and allowed. Okay. So you should meet your doctor, and because unsafe abortions can cause sepsis, shock, and even death. So never do that. If you are pregnant, always meet a doctor and take proper precautions and get the abortion done by the doctor. So next topic I will be talking is sexually transmitted infections. So sexually transmitted infections are transmitted during sexual intercourse, and they are transmitted from one partner to other. And they can be bacterial, viral, or protozoal infections. So the most common sexually transmitted infections are chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, hepatitis B, HIV, HPV, syphilis, trichomoniasis. So how to practice safe sex? You have to limit the number of partners. Only if you have mutual partners, if you have only one partner and your partner is also having only sexual activity with only you, the chances of sexually transmitted infection is very minimal. You have to avoid alcohol and drug abuse. You have to talk openly with your partners. Always use condoms or barrier contraceptives so you can prevent transmission of the disease among yourself, and get treated. Whenever you feel like you have an infection, meet your doctor and get treated. Because if you get treated, you will not be transmitting the infection to another person. And always wash your intimate areas before and after sexual intercourse, and read about it and know about it, because when you have knowledge about it, you know when to meet the doctor, when to take treatment and other things. So why you feel like, why am I talking about sexually transmitted infections at this young age? Because adolescents and young adults are most commonly infected with sexually transmitted diseases. So the best way to avoid sexually transmitted disease is practice abstinence. That is that you should not have sex, and fewer partners, using condoms. And today I'll be discussing a lot about vaccine, because the most common sexually transmitted infection is human papilloma virus. And we have a vaccine to prevent this infection. So the next topic I'll be talking in detail regarding the vaccine. So this is how the female reproductive system looks. And this is the uterus. The mouth of the uterus is the cervix, and here is the vagina. Here is the bladder, and this is the rectum. So from here, the menstrual blood comes out every month. So if the doctor wants to see your cervix, if it is healthy or infected, what they do is they introduce a speculum through your vagina and look at the mouth of your uterus, which is the cervix. This is a picture of a normal looking, healthy cervix. So I will talk a little bit about cancer, because the virus which we are discussing, the most common sexually transmitted infection, human papilloma virus, can lead to a cancer. That's why I want to introduce a little bit about cancer. In the body, all cells are regulated by a beautiful mechanism. So the cells will only multiply when it is required. So you have a wound, the wound has to heal, the cells multiply, and the wound heals. After the wound is healed, the cells stop multiplying. So everything in the body is tightly regulated. But what happens if this mechanism is lost? The abnormal cells starts multiplying uncontrollably and starts spreading to various parts of the body. That is when we call it as a cancer. So what are the differences between a cancer cell and a normal cell? The cancer cells can grow even when there is no signals coming to them to their growth. Like even though if nobody is signaling them to grow, they start growing. If there are signals telling them to die, not to grow, they don't listen to them. They continue to divide, they continue to multiply, they start invading the nearby areas, they tell the blood vessels to grow towards them. And body has a beautiful mechanism of immune system. This immune system, what it does is, whenever it finds some abnormal cells or something is going wrong in your body, these cells go and attack and kill the abnormal cells and maintain the balance in the body. But its cancer cells hide from this immune system. And sometimes they even trick the immune system to help themselves grow. They trick the immune system and they start multiplying rapidly. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is the mouth of the uterus. The main cause for cervical cancer is HPV virus, human papilloma virus. This is a sexually transmitted infection. There are roughly around 200 human papilloma virus strains, and usually they are spread to vaginal, anal, or oral route. And they usually fall to two categories. One is low risk and high risk. Low risk cause warts in the humans. Those low risk viruses are HPV 6 and 11, and there are about 14 high risk HPV virus which cause cancer. And almost 70% of the cancers are caused by HPV 16 and 18. So these are the images of warts caused by low risk HPV virus. So high risk HPV virus are responsible for 91% of cervical cancer, 91% of anal cancer, 69% of vulval cancer, 75% of vaginal cancer, 63% of penile cancer, and 70% of oropharyngeal cancers. So this is a diagram of the virus. Here what you can see inside is the DNA. The outside envelope is formed by few capsid proteins. So this is the L1 capsid protein and this is the L2 capsid protein. Okay. So what happens in the body is, whenever there is a sexual intercourse, there is a lining on the cervix that we call this lining as epithelium. So there are small tears in the lining of the cervix, so through which these HPV viruses enter. So in the lining, what happens is the lowermost cells, these are called as basal cells, they continuously multiply, they mature and grow towards the surface, though, and when they're old, they come out, they shed, and they come out through the vagina as vaginal discharge. So the lowermost cells which are multiplying, they get infected by the virus. And as they multiply and reach the surface, the virus multiplies within the cells and enters all the layers and comes up to the surface. So when it comes to surface, this individual who is infected with the virus can again transmit the infection to another individual during sexual intercourse. The body's mechanism, as I told, the magical and most beautiful immune system will clear this infection in 90% of these individuals. So in 90% of the girls who are getting the HPV infection, it is cleared by the immune system within 2 years. But only the 10%, this progresses over 10 to 30 years. There is a persistent infection. So we have few tests to identify if there is infection, if there's a pre-invasive state, and here we can give even treatment. Sometimes that can also reverse back to normal cervix, and only 0.8% will go ahead and develop cancer. Cancer is when this lowermost line, which you can see here, is called as basement membrane. When it is broken and the cancer cells enter, the abnormal cells enter the body, then we call it as a cancer. So this is how it happens. So this is a small video for you to understand. So this is the cervical lining, the epithelium. So when there is a small tear here during the sexual activity, the virus comes and enters this basal cells. These basal cells are normally dividing cells. So here you can see the virus coming and attacking the basal cells, and they start multiplying within the cells. Then they reach up to the surface of the epithelium. Here they can shed the virus and infect other individuals. But in case, most of the cases, what happens is the body's immune system notices some and they attack the virus and they help to cure the infection. Roughly only in 10% of individuals, when the immune system is weak, like in HIV patient or patients who have undergone renal transplant, or few individuals where immune system is weak, these cells are not killed, start growing, they breach the basement membrane, and then what happens is there is the development of cervical cancer. So this is the normal looking cervix here. So when there is infection, you can see the small area which is abnormal. And from there, most 90%. Can someone mute, please? I can hear someone speaking in the background. Can you mute, please? So almost 90% can clear the infection and the cervix becomes normal. But if the infection is not clear, it becomes a pre-invasive lesion. So here it takes roughly around 30 years to become a cancer. Even from this stage, the patients can cure the infection and the cervix can become normal. Here what you can see are the cells under the microscope. So for married women, we have something called as pap smear test. What we do is, while examining the cervix, we take a small smear from here and see it under the microscope. Then we can identify if the cells are normal, if there is infection, if there is a pre-invasive disease, or if there is a cancer. Most of the times when we identify it here, we give the treatment, and these treatments are very effective. So we see that the patient doesn't go and develop cancer. So married women have to undergo pap smear tests once in every 3 years. So basically, when you have infection, you don't have any symptoms. You don't have any pain, you don't have any discharge, you don't know basically that you have infection. That is why we tell to get screening test done after marriage once in 3 years, because you don't know you have a problem. Only the test will tell you if there is an infection, if there is problem, or if there is anything. And if it's so, you can get treatment there. So this is called as low-grade lesions. This is when we treat so that you do not go and develop cancer. So this is an image of a cancer. So this is how a cervical cancer looks. This is an MRI image here. This is the growth. And this is when you take a biopsy from this cancer and look at through the microscope. So if you ask what is my favorite cancer, definitely cervical cancer is my favorite cancer, because this is only cancer where you can see that you can prevent it from happening. You can give vaccine, then you can still screen the patient. And if you do this, you can almost eradicate this cancer. It's like how you can see leprosy is eradicated in India, polio is eradicated in India. Similarly, this is one cancer where we have a possibility of eradication. So because it is ScienceUtsav, I want to indulge a little bit in science. I wanted you to know how this vaccine is produced. Okay, in 1970s and 80s, it was Sir Harald Sir Hussein, a German virologist, who identified that this HPV virus is responsible for cervical cancer. Even though even in 1986, he told that we can make a vaccine out of it, but it was not made for almost 20 years because the pharmaceutical companies thought making a vaccine is not much profitable. But finally, Professor Ian Fraser and Jian Zhou from the University of Queensland in Australia made this vaccine in the year 2001. And after multiple clinical trials, this was available for use to the public in the year 2006. This is Harald Sir Hussein, and this is Ian Fraser and Jian Zhou. So how did they make this vaccine? They took a biopsy. As I showed you the image of cervical cancer, from there, they took a biopsy. From those cells, they separated the viruses. From the viruses, they separated the DNA, which used to produce the capsid. That means the envelope, outside capsid proteins, whatever is there. No? That part is produced from one small coding region on the DNA. That part of DNA was isolated, put it into bacteria or yeast cell, and they produced virus-like looking particles. Along with that, they add an adjuvant to increase the body's response to the vaccine, and these vaccines are prepared. So here you will get a better picture. This is the virus, and this is the DNA within the capsid. From here, this is L1 gene. L1 gene is basically producing these proteins on the capsid. This gene is taken, put it into a yeast or insect cell, where they think this is our own DNA, and they start producing this outside capsid proteins. These capsid proteins rearrange themselves to look like a virus. They are not the virus, or they are not virus particles. They are virus-like particles. So they do not have any DNA. These viruses cannot cause infection, but when these virus particles are given into the body, injected into the body thinks this is the real virus, but these are not real virus. They cannot cause any infection. And the body produces immunity against this. The antibodies are produced. So when you are actually infected with the virus, these antibodies go and attack the virus and kill the virus. So I'll show you two small videos for your better understanding.
To understand how vaccines work, it helps to look first at how the immune system works, because vaccines harness the natural activity of your immune system. There are about 100 trillion bacteria and viruses on your body. Not all of them cause disease, but some are able to get inside our bodies to multiply, and this can make us ill. There are barriers to stop this happening, but suppose some disease-causing bacteria do get through. Your immune system is quick to recognize them as invaders. This is because the proteins or sugars on the bacteria's surface have different shapes to any of the ones in a human body. They trigger a complex chain of events involving many different types of white blood cells working together. One type of white blood cell is able to make antibodies to fight the invaders. Antibodies can stick to the proteins or sugars on the bacteria's surface, and this kills the bacteria or disables them. However, not all antibodies will work against these bacteria. They have to be exactly the right shape, a bit like a key fitting a lock. Our bodies have a library of billions of white blood cells, each of which can make just one shape of antibody. Only a few of these antibodies will match the invading bacteria. Producing antibodies of the right shape can take several days. By this time, there could be billions of disease-causing bacteria in your body. Once the right cells are activated, they quickly divide and turn into a production line, making masses of antibodies that stick to the bacteria. Eventually, your body gets rid of all the bacteria and you recover. Antibodies remain in the blood, and some white blood cells may also become memory cells. If those specific bacteria invade the body again, the immune system will respond so quickly that you won't get ill. Vaccines work in the same way. They contain weakened or dead bacteria or viruses, or even just a few proteins or sugars from the surface. This is enough to convince the immune system that a real invader has got in. The same process takes place as when real bacteria or viruses invade our bodies, except you don't get ill. Afterwards, if your body ever meets the real thing, your immune system will remember it and get rid of it before you even know it's there. To understand how cells, this is known as infection. Recognizing this microbe as a foreign body, the immune system deploys two defense strategies using various types of white blood cells. First of all is the innate immune response. Macrophages are at the heart of this. These killer cells swallow up intruders, whatever they are, to destroy them. Phagocytes capture and eliminate toxins. This rapid and localized reaction can stop or slow down the infection. But that's not always enough, and that's where lymphocytes come in. They're defender cells which can identify the invader thanks to its characteristic molecule, the antigen. It is adapted to attack that particular virus or bacteria. As soon as it identifies the antigen, the lymphocyte multiplies.
Ma'am, we are not able to.
Body and bodies latching agents and neutralize them, allowing macrophage to eliminate them.
Are you here?
Ma'am, the voice of the video is breaking a little. The voice is breaking a little, ma'am.
Okay. So what happens is cells will remember their enemies. All the viruses or bacteria infected. When they encounter this bacteria or viruses again, they immediately go and attack these viruses and or the bacteria and kill them. Similarly, this is used in vaccine. Vaccine, what happens is when you inject virus particle inside the body, so when you inject it, the body starts producing antibodies against this virus-like particles. So this virus-like particles enters the body. So the macrophages go meet this virus and they start producing this small antibodies here. So what happens is when you actually have the real infection, these antibodies and cells remember the virus, go and attack and kill the viruses there itself so that you don't get the disease. So basically vaccine, virus-like particles are introduced into the body and the body produces antibodies against this virus-like particles. But the body thinks this is the actual virus. But when you are actually infected with human papillomavirus during sexual intercourse, the antibodies which are already present due to vaccination will go and attack and kill the actual real virus. So this is a similar image showing the same, which you have already seen in the video. So we have three types of vaccines. One is Cervarix, Gardasil quadrivalent, and Gardasil 9. So Cervarix is no longer available in India. It was available earlier. So it used to give protection against HPV 16 and 18, which were responsible for almost 70% of the cervical cancers. So now we have only Gardasil 9 and Gardasil 4. So Gardasil 4 gives protection against both 6, 11, 16 and 18, and Gardasil 9 along with 6 and 11 are 7 more high-risk HPV strains. So this is no longer available. Both Gardasil quadrivalent and Gardasil 9 can be given both to girls and boys aged between 9 to 26 years, and Gardasil 9 can be given up to the age of 45 years. It's even also given to boys because there are some cancer which occur in boys also, like penile cancers, and HPV 6 and 11 cause genital warts. So these vaccines also give protection from genital warts. So we have Cervavac, which is the India's first indigenously developed HPV vaccine. It was developed by Serum Institute of India. In future, it is planned to be included in Indian immunization program, like how you get your BCG vaccine, hepatitis vaccine, polio drop. Similarly, all girls will be getting this vaccine. But most probably, since you are already in 10th, they're planning to start it for the age group of less than 14. So you will have to take the vaccine by your own. The government might not be giving it to you in the vaccination schedule. So age for taking vaccine is between 9 to 14 years. So 2 doses if you take the vaccine before your 15th birthday. But if you take the vaccine after your 15th birthday, you have to take 3 doses. So vaccine is given on your arm with a syringe and it is going deep into your muscle. Okay. So who should not take vaccine? If in case you have any severe allergic to one's first dose of vaccine or any, it is prepared from yeast. So if you have any allergic to any component of yeast, you cannot take the vaccine. The vaccine cannot be taken during pregnancy. Other precaution you have to take is if you have any other illness, like you're sick with malaria, dengue, or you have common cold or something, it's always better to take the vaccine once you are healthy, once you recover from that infection. So does this vaccine have any side effects? Actually, this vaccine doesn't have any serious side effects. Little bit, there can be a little bit of pain, redness, swelling at where the site of the injection, or sometimes few girls can faint. So what we advise is after taking the vaccine to be seated at least for 15 minutes. Very rarely someone can have a headache, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, or weakness. Actually, I didn't have any of these symptoms when I took the vaccine. So it gives almost 97% protection against the cervical cancer, vaginal and vulvar cancer if the vaccine is taken before you are sexually active. I am telling this 97% because the strains in the vaccine, there are only 9 strains, and there are almost 14 high-risk HPVs. So there are few strains which are not present in the vaccine, which can still cause cancer. Otherwise, this would have been 100%. So when the vaccine is given, almost 93 to 100% of the girls and 99 to 100% of the boys produce the antibodies against the virus. So it prevents almost 90% of the cancers, but the cancer are just the tip of iceberg. It almost prevents almost thrice the number of cervical precancers and other cancers caused by HPV virus. So it gives protection against cervical cancer 85 to 90%, 90% protection against genital warts, and 85 to 90% protection against anal cancers. So take home message, all this talk which I did for last, I think roughly around 30 to 35 minutes is presented on the small video.
We know that vaccine can stop cancer. Cervical cancer kills 300,000 women every year. 90% of them are living in lower income countries. However, this disease is preventable. We have a vaccine that protects against the biggest cause of cervical cancer, HPV, or human papillomavirus, the world's most common sexually transmitted infection. In the 1980s, scientists discovered that this incredibly common bug causes several types of cancer, including 95% of cervical cancer cases. That's why in the 1990s, researchers got to work on a vaccine to protect us against HPV. Finally, in 2006, this vaccine became available. The vaccine is safe and effective at stopping the HPV virus. Today, this lifesaver is able to cut cervical cancer cases by up to 90%. It's safe and effective, and what's more, it's available for free in many countries across the world. To stay safe, girls should get the vaccine between the ages of 9 and 14 to give themselves a shot at a healthier future.
So this was my presentation. Thank you. And I went a bit fast due to time constraint. Hope you understood. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think you covered, you covered an ocean into this 35 minutes talk. I really enjoyed listening to you. I hope the girls also enjoyed a lot, and not just enjoyed, they would, implement whatever you have said, whatever you have suggested to us. For sure will do that. Any questions? You can unmute yourself and ask, ma'am.
Ma'am, recently I got to know that we get some type of cancer by using sanitary pads. They are not at all safe. Safe.
Yeah, there are recent studies saying that there is a gel which is used in the sanitary napkins to absorb this menstrual blood so that it increases the capacity of the sanitary napkins, which is a probable carcinogen. So it is not yet proven, but the studies are saying that it can cause cancer. So this is still upcoming. So if possible, you can use sanitary napkins which do not contain this gel. And what I suggest to young girls is menstrual cup is something which I do not recommend, because you have to sterilize them, use them properly. That knowledge at this age you rarely have, how to use it, how to sterilize it. And in schools and all, it's very difficult to sterilize and use it properly. So what you can do is you can shift to menstrual panties nowadays. So these panties do not contain any medication or any chemical, but they have good absorbing capacity. So you have to change these panties at least once in 4 to 6 hours. Even though they tell that you can wear this for 12 hours, it has the capacity. But for your health benefit, you have to change those at least every 4 to 6 hours. And because they're made of normal cloth, they do not contain any chemicals. But as of now, they're recently being introduced in India. They're pretty costly. One panty costs roughly around 400 to 600 rupees. But if you think that is, because that can be used for so long until it tears off really. So it's one-time investment. I think that would be a better option if you're really worried about the carcinogens present in the sanitary napkins. Hello?
Before sleep.
Students, please try to be very clear, or you can type out your question in the chat section so that ma'am can take it up.
Ma'am, can we take medicines before sleep?
What medicines?
Any kind of medicines?
See, all the medicines your doctor will tell you when to take. All the medicines have a rule. Like some medicines have to be taken in the empty stomach in the morning. Some will have to be taken along with the food, some after food, some before food. So you ask your doctor what medicine you're taking, when it has to be taken. Like Tyronum for thyroid disease, what we give, it has to be taken in the empty stomach in the morning itself. So everything has like this, because basically medicines have this, there is something called as absorption. Some are better absorbed in empty stomach, some are better absorbed if you take them after meal. So always ask your doctor when they tell you to take any tablet, when it has to be taken, before food, after food, with the food. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Any further
more
questions? If the students, yes, any question, please.
We have a question regarding the first session.
Please ask.
Ma'am, it was told that in PCOS, testosterone is also released in females.
Yeah.
How exactly?
See, there is something called as a big topic. Always gets a 10 marks question in MBBS also. There is something called as endocrine part of the reproduction. So you have this estrogen, progesterone. So basically everything is controlled by your brain. Okay. You have your hypothalamus. From there, you have your pituitary. From there, the growth hormones, LH and FSH are two hormones which are secreted. Those hormones will come down and act on your ovaries. From the ovaries, the eggs are released, and there are something called as antral follicles and other things which produce estrogen, progesterone, and everything. Okay. So there is this hormones, there is a part, like one chemical is formed, imagine, and one sex steroid is formed that gets converted to estrogen. It's like a pathway. Okay. So this, while getting converted from this form to this form, the part of testosterone is very less. There is very minimal amount of testosterone during this conversion. But what happens in polycystic ovarian disease is there is increase in number of theca cells in the ovary, which are responsible for production of this androgens. Androgens are the male hormones. So in male body, the androgens are in excess. In female body, the androgens levels are less. It doesn't mean that in women there is no testosterone at all. The levels are very less. Okay. So basically what happens is when there is increase in theca cells, this the hormones produce, the theca cells basically produce this androgens, there's increase in level of testosterone. So in polycystic ovarian diseases, the ovary size of the ovaries increase because there is increase in number of theca cells. And these theca cells are responsible for production of this androgens or testosterone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Otherwise, also normally there is some amount of testosterone in everyone. Okay, even if you get your blood test, then it shouldn't be zero. Okay, this is not normal. There's a minimum amount which has to be there.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
one more question we have, that is it okay to take painkillers during periods?
Yeah, we see basically what happens is during the periods, along with this menstrual blood, what I told, this endometrial lining, when it sheds, there's a lot of release of chemicals within the uterus. These chemicals are called as prostaglandins. Basically, it is naturally produced within the uterus. And these prostaglandins are the ones which are responsible for the pain during the periods. So this is almost, so dysmenorrhea is a very common problem. So we have few medications like NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which act on these prostaglandins and helps to control the pain. So the most common medicine which you use is meftal-spas. It can be taken during the periods to control the pain.
Ma'am, there is
it
one.
safe?
There
Yeah,
is
those
one more
are
question in the chat box.
okay.
Ma'am, there is one more question. Can we take HPV vaccine first dose at the age of 15?
Yeah, definitely you can take at the age of 15. Only thing is, see, initially the vaccines were said to be taken like 3 doses. That's what the companies, when they produced, told, that what the studies told. Now, because there is shortage of vaccine, when they saw back the data, even when women who had taken just 2 vaccines, couldn't take 3 vaccines, had good antibody production. So what they told, if it is not possible in your country to give 3 vaccines, still 2 doses of vaccine is sufficient. Now WHO says up to age of 26, 2 doses is sufficient, but at least there should be 6 months gap between 2 doses. But if you want to be very sure that you want to make sure that vaccine is very effective, after 15 years of age, you have to take 3 vaccines. If you take the first vaccine today, second dose is after 2 months and next dose is after 6 months. Okay, that question, ma'am. Yeah, first dose at the age of 15 years. Yeah, definitely you can take it up to any age until you're sexually active. But once you're sexually active, also you can take HPV vaccine. It is not like you shouldn't take, but the protection, it might not give the protection of 97%. It will give you protection of roughly around 60 to 70%. Because once you're sexually active, there is very high probability that you're already infected with few strains of HPV viruses. So basically, it doesn't give protection against those strains which are already you have been infected. It will only give protection against the strains which you have not yet been infected. Periods not started after 16 years. Yeah, 16 years. Okay, this you need to meet a gynecologist for this, because there are few tests we do to see if it is normal, and it is because your mother or the family members, everyone had periods starting at a very late age. That's why your periods are also not started up to the 16 years of age. But where there are some signs, if we find that signs, definitely we will look into it, why the periods have not yet started. So 16 is the age where you have to be concerned if your periods have not started. It's better to meet a gynecologist and let them know. They will go through and tell whether you can wait or whether you need a treatment.
There is one more question, which is a very important question. Why can't we take sour food during period, please, ma'am?
Where is that question I cannot. Oh, sour food. Okay, what I told, this chemical prostaglandin, they affect everything. Some people have loose motion during the period. Some people feel very nauseous. Whatever smell, coffee, tea, anything, they feel like puking out. This all everything happens because of these chemicals called prostaglandins. That's why if you take sour food, some people can have vomiting. So there are people have made it generalized, like don't take sour food during periods. Okay, there's nothing like that. Only if you feel that the nausea, everything is increasing because of sour food or by taking coffee or tea, you can avoid them during your periods. That's it. Yeah, virus-like particles, do they have any effect on us? No, that's what I told you. No, they look like virus, but they are not virus. They do not have any DNA. All the cells should have DNA to have some effect. They're not live. These are just virus-like particles just to trick the body's immunity to think that these are viruses. Okay, so they do not have any effect on us per se because they do not multiply inside our body. So once antibodies are produced, they are neutralized. So they do not have DNA, so they don't go on multiplying inside the body. Whatever small dose is given, that will go there. Antibodies are produced. Those antibodies are going to kill this virus-like particles, and then they're gone. Ma'am, how will we know that we got affected by cervical cancer and how it is caused? How it is caused, please don't ask me. I have taken a whole lecture about how the cervical cancer has caused. It is caused by the HPV virus. When the body's immunity is not able to clear the virus, when it stays long in our body for roughly around 10 to 20 years, then it changes the cervical cells to grow and the abnormal cells start growing, and that's how the cancer is caused. How we will get to know is early stages you will not get to know because there are no symptoms. That can be only picked up by screening methods. Screening methods are done once you are married. Every 3 years, you go to your doctor and get a pap smear done. So even if you're all right, the pap smear will tell you if you have an infection, or HPV DNA test will tell you if there is an infection or if there are some changes which look like that you might get cancer in future. At that point of time, the doctor will treat you so that you don't get cancer in the future. But if you have a cancer, usually what happens is you'll have abnormal bleeding between the periods, or there will be very bad discharge coming from the vagina. The smell will be so much that people near you will also start smelling. And usually if the periods have stopped roughly around after 50 years of age, they'll start having bleeding again. And they might have severe backache. Sometimes patients present to us, they will not be able to pass urine. Sometimes the disease would have spread so badly that I showed you the bladder, the urinary bladder, the motion area, the rectal area are so close. So there will be holes between this area. Urine will be leaking continuously. So if you don't go and meet your doctor immediately, this all can happen. Usually most of the patients come to us when they're almost stage 2 or stage 3. Clearly we get patients who come to us at stage 1 because they don't know. They don't know there is a vaccine. They don't know there are screening tests. They are not aware about this. That's why it happens. Suggest a brand of sanitary pads. There are few companies which are producing this gel-free. Nova and other Sanofi, some other brands are producing which do not contain this gel. Okay, but better I suggest like you can try the sanitary this period panties, because there you're sure that no chemicals, because sometimes they will advertise that we don't have any gels or anything in the pads, but you cannot be very sure. And those brands which are telling that we don't have any gels or any other content in our sanitary pads, those are very, very pretty costly. Okay, better than that, you can better invest on the period panties. So if you're using period panties, make sure that you wash them, change them after 6 hours, wash them and dry them in sunlight properly. If you don't dry them properly, again, you're at risk of infection. Ma'am, my period takes 9 to 12 days. Is there any problem? Yeah, 9 to 12 days. We don't usually call it as normal, anything more than 7 days. So better get checked with your doctor. There might be some underlying disease which they'll be able to identify and start you on some form of treatment. Okay. This was for the question, periods 9 to 12 days. Okay. Yeah, if there is very less bleeding, also there might be few problems. Like if your periods are not regular, they're coming at a very irregular interval and the bleeding is very less, then also there can be problem. then also you have to meet your doctor, because we do few blood tests to see if everything is normal or if everything is abnormal. Then only we decide whether you need treatment or whether you don't need treatment. Okay, it doesn't mean that for all the patients we treat, we run few tests, we find something is abnormal. Like if you have thyroid disorder, if you have hypothyroidism, you can have very less bleeding. That is when we test for thyroid, we see if it is hypothyroid, then we start thyroid medication. Like that, we run few tests to find out why this is happening, and then we start treating. Periods twice a month, once in a while, if you get a period twice a month, that should be normal. Or periods at least every 21 days, up to 21 days. Every 3 weeks, one period is also normal. Anything less than that, less than 21 days cycle, is something we would not consider normal and we would like to evaluate. But once in a while, if you get like twice a month, and again it becomes normal, no need to worry much about that. But if you're getting it very frequently, twice a month, every month, you're at risk of anemia. So I mean, because of the blood loss, your hemoglobins will fall. That's why you need to meet a doctor there. Any other question?
Ma'am, is 3 days also normal if someone has periods for
Yeah,
3 days?
3 days period is absolutely normal. 2 to 3 days is also normal. It's the amount of bleeding. If you are really concerned that the bleeding was pretty good and all of a sudden it has reduced significantly, that is when you have to think that, oh, something might be abnormal. Okay, even 2 days is normal.
Also, ma'am, is it are there other ways to have like reduce the pain which is natural other than hot water bags or medicines?
Yeah, you can actually avoid other things which also release prostaglandin during that time. You can cut down on the chocolates, you can cut down on the coffee, you can cut down on the tea. You can preferably, as ma'am told, you can use hot water bottles covered with a cloth and keep it on your tummy so that the heat will reduce the production of prostaglandin. So it will reduce the pain. Okay, and medications taking once in a month will not have much effects, because if the pain is due to release of prostaglandin, what happens is once you are married and once you have a child, the pain will come down automatically. So, okay, so you need not take the medicines lifelong. Is it good to use the course when irregular periods occur, ma'am? Good to use the course. I didn't get this.
Ma'am, the contraceptive pills. The contraceptive
Yeah.
pills.
See, if we diagnose any girl or anyone with polycystic ovarian syndrome, all of a sudden you cannot bring the hormonal levels to normal. So what we really do is we start them on hormonal contraceptives. Okay. So this hormonal contraceptives contains hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and we are giving it from outside so that the periods occur at regular intervals. But this is not going to cure your PCOS. You have to reduce your weight if you're heavy. You have to start doing yoga, exercise. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to eat healthy. So this 3 months is the time period for you to become healthy and control your inner hormonal imbalance. Okay. So we give tablets from outside only to normalize your periods. Meanwhile, if you take these measures, lose weight, do exercise, yoga, swimming, or whatever, and if you're physically active, reduce the stress. You have to reduce your stress. Then only your periods will become normal automatically once we stop medications after 3 months. Only if you have taken these precautions or measures.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. We will be not taking any more questions now. Thank you so much, Ramya ma'am. You have given us a lot of insight. I hope the students really like interacting with you. I hope you liked interacting with the students,
Yeah, sure,
and they can
definitely.
take some
It's been a
kind of
long time.
inspiration from the all the feat that you have achieved. We are all grateful for your presence today. Students, thank you for joining. We have just one more announcement. There will be a quiz for this session also. Please attempt that quiz. And we have the winners for the August quizzes. All the schools and the students who have done well in the quizzes of the sessions in August sessions. So the winners are here. You can see this poster on the Vigyan ScienceUtsav LMS only. The Hall of Fame, it is right in this right corner. So the winners are Renu Sahu from JNV Durg, Vanshika from JNV Rohtak, Neha Patil, Swara Patil, Anushka Patil, Pranjali Shinde, and Bhumika Gavali from JNV Sangli. I am congratulating all the students who have participated well and encourage all other students to participate in the upcoming sessions, quizzes. And the schools who have done really well in the month of August are from Bhopal, JNV Raipur, from Chandigarh, JNV Leh, from Hyderabad region, JNV Srikakulam, from Jaipur region, JNV Bhilwara, from Lucknow region, JNV Varanasi, from Patna region, JNV Bokaro, from Pune, JNV Amreli, and from Shillong, JNV Moregaon. Thank you all students for participating. Thank you teachers for ensuring students participate really well. Thank you all the guests. And thank you ScienceUtsav for bringing out Dr. Ramya with us. Thank you all. The session will be ending now.
Just can I take the last question because I want
Yes,
to
please,
really
please.
address-
I'm so sorry.
No, it's just came in the chat box. Hello,
Yeah, ma'am, please take
am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah,
Please take
are
the
blood
question.
are blood clots normal in the vaginal blood? Okay, this is the last question I'll be answering. If the clots are the size of the clot is less than 1 rupee coin, those are normal. If it is larger than 1 rupee coin, that means you are having heavy bleeding and you need to meet your doctor. I just wanted to stress that you need to meet your doctor. That's why I took this question. And thank you, ScienceUtsav, and thank you, JNV, for providing me this opportunity. It feels really great to be back with JNV Association again. JNV has given a lot to me, so I would like to repeat in any way possible. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, students. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.